Step right up, let's take the dive. Crypto world is coming alive. From XRP to the blockchain beat. Join the crew where pioneers meet. Got builders, dreamers paving the way. Multi-chain vibes, we're here to stay. Wanna know? Don't wait, let's go. Dip a toe, join the Web3 flow. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe, show, living the dream. From the ledger to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. Faces of crypto, stories we share. Early adopters, they're everywhere. From XRPL to the Web3 wave. Bold moves, only we're here to pave. Melissa and Simon, they light the way. Every week it's a crypto play. Wanna know? Don't wait, let's go. Dip a toe, join the Web3 flow. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe, show, living the dream. From the ledger to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. Let's crypto dance. No advice, just a spark to ignite. Do your research, keep your vision tight. Community strong, we're building the way. Dip a toe show, here to stay. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe show, living the dream. From the ledger to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. So take a chance, don't be shy. Crypto's calling, we're reaching the sky. Join the movement, come take a look. Web3's rising, the world's been shook. Ooh.
Gotta unmute my mic. Welcome to Dip a Toe Show, guys. I'm your host, Melissa. As you notice, our friend Simon is not with us this evening. He is working overtime, so unfortunately, he won't be able to join us tonight. Wow. There are so many of you in here already. I do want to kind of go through and say hello to everyone. Our special guest is not arrived yet. If anybody knows Vincent Scott, can you give him a buzz and let him know it's showtime? Not sure if he's having technical difficulties or not, but we didn't get to do our camera and mic check before. So it's making me a little nervous because we're in different time zones. And sometimes time zone differences can get a little confusing. But I do want to say hello to the folks that are in here. Silver Days, always number one. We appreciate you for coming, Silver. Let's go, Dip a Toe Show. And he also says, smash the likes and subscribe. We also have our friend Nova Crypto. He says this is going to be a good one, Days. I think it is too. I'm really excited to have him on the show. IT Kimchi, what's up? Good evening. Thank you for coming. And of course, our good friend William. Spent some time with William in XRPL Cancun, which I might end up talking about here for a minute before Vincent gets here. But before I talk about that, I want to finish welcoming. We've got Sing for Jesus says, hey, Dipper fam. She's at church right now, but she'll come back. Really appreciate you having Dip a Toe Show on your radar every Wednesday. And who else we got? Top Grandpa. You guys, if anyone, we met Top Grandpa in XRP Las Vegas, and he's become a friend of mine. Really appreciate your support, Top Grandpa. He's a very fun person. If you guys aren't following him on X, please give him a follow. And XR Papa, let's go. Buns, sun, and back to work, young lady. Yeah. Melissa came back with a little bit of sun poisoning from Cancun. I did so good with my fair skin. I had the sunscreen on and the full out long sleeve protection, clothing and whatnot. But that last day where we went on a special trip to chicken and pizza, it's not really, it's Chichen Itza. I'm not saying it correctly, and I apologize. But it was a fun day. But I did get sunburned. It was impossible to get out of the sun, and so I have little skin poisoning all over me, sun poisoning, which is kind of a bummer, but it'll go away. I've had it before. DCA Crypto Dave, we love you. Thank you so much for coming. Our friend Wealth Blessed is in the house. Good evening to you. Our wonderful host Sholo, time to dip a toe. Sholo, you did such a fantastic job with putting XRPL Cancun together. Really appreciate your hospitality. Everyone that was on the team, you guys just did a great job. I was blessed to be there, and I really thank you. Look forward to next year. It's going to be a wonderful event. We have a whole year to plan it, and so I am super excited about it. And let's see. Oh, we don't have Simon, but we have Mrs. Says Crypto in the house. Favorite night of the week. Hey, Dip a Toe fam, getting ready to drive, so she'll be lurking. But we love you. We thank you for coming. And our friend FM XRP Fabio Marzella. Those of you who may remember, we had Fabio on our program talking about the Zhao DAO. And that is a really good show to go back and learn if you don't know anything about DAOs. He came on and shared all there is to know about the Zhao DAO, and it was a really great conversation. So kind of go back and check that out. I know we have a lot of new people listening in the house tonight because Vincent Scott is coming on the show. And I will tell you this. I have been growing my channel organically since I think 2021 is when I came back on Twitter. And I am not one to like do the whole follow a bunch of people just to go and unfollow you and all of that. I really have tried to grow my channel organically with real people, real friends. I consider all you guys my friends. I've done the same thing with the Dip a Toe channel. And I finally hit 5,000 subscribers today, and we flipped another number on YouTube. So we're at 1,420, 420, take the day off, viewers on the Dip a Toe Show YouTube channel. I just can't tell you how much that means to me. It's a lot of work and time. Oh, we got Vinny in the house. This is awesome, guys. And so anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This show is really important to me. Our friendships that we're forming is really important to me. And the fact that it's gaining traction. And like I say, when the Dip a Toe Show grows, so do you guys. I try to shine the spotlight on the people, the early adopters in crypto, the builders on the XRP Ledger, the educators like Vinny. I try to shine the spotlight on the folks that are trying to spread the word so that we can get as many people in this space as possible. And so when we grow, you grow, and our voice becomes more strong and it's heard. We are on IMU TV, streaming to over 60 countries worldwide, and that's very exciting. There's big things in store for IMU TV, and we were the first educational crypto digital asset educational show on the IMU TV platform. And we're very excited about that. And so thankful to Niall, Fitzy, and Rob from the IMU TV team. So in any way, I want to welcome Connie. Thank you so much for coming. And who else we got here? We got Rye Dollar Sign. What's up, Rye Dollar Sign? Fuma Boys are in the house. That's another show. Oh, we got Vinny's friend Marcus Rowan in the house. I followed you back today, Marcus. Thank you so much for the follow. Of course, it wouldn't be complete unless we had Stone in the house. Thank you so much. Morty Now is here. Looking forward to the show. Obese to Fit with Parkinson's, our friend Ryan. Boy, we've got a lot of people in here, guys. Brenda Lotz, friend from the past. How you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for coming. Okay, so now that I know that our special guest is here, I'm going to hear because we have so much to talk about. I will tell you, people are super, super excited about this. I'm thrilled to welcome Vincent Scott. He is better known to many of us as Vinny, the publicly funded journalist and one of the most respected educational voices in the XRP community. Vinny doesn't do charts, price predictions, or hype. He takes no deals. He sells nothing. He focuses purely on teaching, breaking down the real technology, the economics, and the systemic implications of XRP and the XRP Ledger. He also focuses on Ripple's broader financial infrastructure. He is known for his clear, no BS analysis and deep dives into how this technology could actually reshape the way that money works. So for people who want substance over noise, he's become a real go-to source. And as you guys know, on the Dip a Toe Show, we like to shine the spotlight on the builders and the real tools of the XRP Ledger and the educators of the XRP Ledger. And tonight we're here to learn from Vinny's perspective and dig into how this tech actually works as a tool. So without further ado, I want to welcome Vinny to the Dip a Toe Show. Vincent Scott, it is so great to have you here this evening. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing just fine. Yeah.
Uh-oh. We got a frozen.
And I just had 8 o'clock in my mind the whole day. I'm just like, oh no. Right when I look, I'm so glad. Everybody's like, wait a minute, where are you at? I'm like, oops.
I love
So
I gave a shout out. I gave a shout out. I said, if anybody knows how to get a hold of Vinny, get him in here, because of the time change and everything. But I am so thankful and delighted to have you here with us on the Dip a Toe Show tonight, Vinny. It's great. And if you've never watched the show before, one of the very first things that we love to do with all of our guests is have you tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, and the world that you grew up in.
Okay, sure. So, come from a working class family, St. Louis, Missouri, all my life. Grew up out in Hillsborough, which is about like 20 minutes south of St. Louis, out in the country and whatnot. But, my family's always been involved in politics. My grandfather, he actually escaped from a communist prison camp. So, that's just something that's always just been handed down into my family. Now, when 2011 rolled around, I started listening to Ron Paul, and I was like, well, wait a minute, what this guy is saying makes a lot of sense about our money, how we're always consistently just getting poorer and more broke, and why we're always struggling. We're just on this continuous treadmill, if you will, of fiat monetary system. So ran for office, and then all of a sudden lost, it's just a local committeeman after I was a delegate for Ron Paul in that election, and then ran for office, and then the IRS came after my family. So, from then on, it's been like, okay, now it's personal. So, then after that, the whole thing had to dodge the mandate, and come Trump's 2024 run, I had gotten laid off as an e-commerce analyst. So it's like, okay, now we have to go hit the campaign. And
oh, darn it.
Started looking at the scroll because I had been investigating, cryptocurrency and Ripple. Am I coming through?
Yeah, you keep cutting out.
Am I coming through?
Yeah, you are now. It keeps cutting out in and out for us, but we're getting most of it, so it's good. Your camera is really clear, but you keep freezing.
Yeah, it's weird. But
yeah.
Anyway, from what Ron Paul said, it's really all about how we use our money, and we just need to be able to choose our issuer and our unit, and then have it not be based off of debt. So we're all on this debt system now. And that's the thing that's great about Ripple and XRP and the XRPL is that you can literally choose your issuer and your unit. Okay.
Oh, you're
and
frozen.
It's backed by real world assets and securities, whatever else.
We're gonna dive deep into that in a little bit here, because I've got so many questions for you. But before we get to that, I always ask everybody that comes on the show if you had an aha moment that pulled you into the digital asset space. So if you can walk us through how you first encountered XRP or our crypto more broadly, that would be fantastic. We'd love to hear about that.
Oh, it's from my best friend, Ryan. He's the one that told me about Ripple and XRP. And just from then on, I just did all my own research. And that was about when the lawsuit happened against Ripple. So that's when I started to really look into it and use all my own knowledge about money and credit and finance and how values moved around there on. Is the connection still fine?
It's still coming in and out. It's still coming in and out for some reason.
Back in.
Now you're frozen. You want to leave and come back maybe with like a refresher?
Yeah.
That'll be good. We'll bring you right back in. No worries. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We'll bring him back right in. We're so far down the road when it comes to technology, right? But sometimes the internet connections are not. XRP says, come up from the basement, Vinny. Yeah, even with the best internet connection, we get issues with people. And some people even have to just come in from their cell phone, unfortunately, because the internet is not so good, and then they find that the cell phone reception's actually better. So we'll hope that hope he'll have a good one. Crypto Nova says all good. At least you got him here. Yeah, absolutely. Who else we got in here? I want to say hello to a woman freed. Welcome. He's so cute, she says. Yeah, he is so cute. Wolfchild 1, welcome to the Dip a Toe Show. Justin Jenny 73. Wow, we've got a lot of new folks in here tonight. I'm here by myself. Just be pure. Amen to that, right? Just be pure. XR Spalding says hello, XRP family. We've got a lot of wonderful people in the house tonight. I think I saw our friend Kita in the house, Stir Crazy, of course, and our friend Texas Gun. Thank you. There's 113 of you watching. If you would please make sure that you're subscribed to the Dip a Toe channel, that would be fantastic. And share this out with all of your friends and your family, because this is going to be a very deep conversation. I think a lot of people are going to be interested to hear what Vinny has to say. What else to say? The elites wants to keep Vinny quiet. Rolla Rye $ says, yeah, that's funny. Yep, it is. Don't you get it? YouTube's trying to keep his message. No, I don't think that so much. We talk about a lot of stuff on this show. And we don't have that problem here. So let's get Vinny back in. Let's see. Here we go. Is that better?
Is it better? You would have to tell me. I'm going through a phone here.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I said. Sometimes our friends have to come back on a phone. So far, it seems to be clear. So we'll go along with this, and then hopefully, we won't have any more issues. Okay, so you were telling us about how you got in. Your friend got you into the digital asset space. What was it that really made you want to dive into it more when you first learned about it?
Well, it's just the basic fact of transparency and freedom. So, over the blockchain, everything you can securitize any sort of data transparently and securely. Everybody can see it. We all know that it's real. And then if you take that piece of knowledge and you combine it with what is money and how do you track any sort of resource around the world, then you get to understand that, well, wait a minute, we're in this highly fraudulent area of time here where we have Congress running up fraud that they're not tracking down, and then they're taking out debt which we also pay interest on from there out. So then you think about blockchain, you're like, okay, well, if we can securitize data and we can transmit it securely and fairly, so without coercion or whatever else, that seems to be the answer then to expanding government debts with fraud and with mortgage fraud, naked short selling in the stock market, all of these things that we are running into, which literally causes the entire lowest rung of the ladder of the economy to struggle. We're having to cut through all of this fraud all the time. And you know how it is with just all of us. We're all just trying to, work our jobs, take care of our family. And we don't want to have to worry about, is Congress not investigating their own budgets? Are they running fraud? And then is that fraud being used to finance political campaigns, which erode our very freedoms in and of itself? So it's about this entire ethos that says that, look, we want sound money. We want to be able to transmit value freely and fairly. And a lot of other countries around the world, too, have been wanting that freedom as well, because they're trapped inside something called the SWIFT system. Now, the SWIFT system is how money is transmitted all around the world, okay? And it is highly politicized. So when Russia invaded Ukraine, what did Biden do? He kicked them out of the SWIFT system, meaning he kicked them out of the banking system. I mean, we're doing the same thing against Iran, too, and North Korea and a few other places. But when they did it against Russia and then seized $300 billion worth of assets, everybody's looking at us now going, wait a minute, you're the bank and you can do this to us? You can kick us out from transacting? You have to remember, too, a sovereign nation needs to be able to transact on the open market to get goods and resources for their people, too. So you're not only punishing the government, you're punishing the citizens who, they're innocent in this whole thing. So the advent of blockchain, I like to liken it to this. So the nuclear bomb, that changed politics and how we fight wars. Blockchain is the nuclear bomb inside of finance, because from what was controlled once to now, okay, no one can control it. Everybody's free. So for the past 60 years, underneath the United States hegemony, they've been picking and choosing winners and losers. And it's precisely because they can cut off who they want from the banking system. Now, with blockchain, that all goes away. Even Marco Rubio himself said that within 5 years, sanctions aren't going to work. Well, what are sanctions? Sanctions is the tactics they use to cut somebody off from the banking system. So through SWIFT, they just kick them right out. Okay, you can't transact on the open market anymore. Well, now with blockchain, they can still, and it's faster, and it's more secure. So it's freer, it's fairer, and this is the way we are all going here. Now, all of this has a long history to it. Because they've had the control over these money flows, well, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's Lord Acton. That is a axiom by which government operates. And we're in this very corrupt time right now where they have taken that power in order to defraud the American people through the tax of inflation. So Congress runs a deficit, and it's based on fraud that they then sell to the central bank at interest. And the central bank prints up the money we are forced to use to buy that debt plus interest. And it was all based on fraud. So not only are we paying taxes just straight to the government, but we're also paying the inflation tax because they had to print that excess money that we're forced to use in order to keep the fraud going by Congress. So it is all highly intertwined towards this issue of freedom for our own people and prosperity.
Now, that's a mouthful. But before I start asking deeper questions, I would love to know what prompted you in starting to educate the public on these topics. Like I know you do chalkboards, your deep dives, and your no BS style. And I wonder, like, how long have you been actually doing this publicly, and how has it evolved over time? Because I know I personally have been subscribed to you for, gosh, I think like a year now, or maybe longer. I don't even know. I feel like I've been following your channel for a long time.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it is right when I got back from doing Trump's 2024 campaign. So I've been studying all this for my entire life. You know, as a delegate for Ron Paul, you know, ran for office myself, and then after I got laid off, went and did the thing for Trump's campaign 2024. It was that November, so November 2024, that all of a sudden I just started looking in the scroll at a bunch of nonsense that a lot of these huge accounts would start to spew out about, you know, dates and charts and prices and all this other stuff. And it just wasn't right to me. And I just snapped, and I just started recording videos and just started okay, here it is. I got tired of it. You know, it's like, I don't know who these people are. I know they don't know what they're talking about, because obviously what they're saying is completely incorrect. Like, for instance, when you talk about prices and charts, okay, this has never happened before. These techs have never had the laws available for them to actually scale with the value in the forms of stablecoins, foreign CBDC, tokenized assets, securities, and treasuries. So that those laws haven't been effective yet. So how are they coming up with a price?
Yeah.
There's no model by which they can do that. If we live in a highly manipulated market in a random world, there's no way they can chart this. There's no way they can then pull a price from it. So if you can't chart it, you can't price it. And they would do all of these things. And why would they do it? Because these influencers would literally generate the hype around whatever crypto it was, or a meme coin, in order to get the people to buy in, for the influencer to then pull the bag. They were defrauding the public doing this, making money hand over fist. So I had enough of it. I was like, you know what? I know what I'm talking about. Just listen to me. Those guys, I don't trust them. I don't know what they're going for. And that's why I've run my account how I've run it, to where it's just like, look, we're not going to do ads. We're not going to do merch. We're not going to this, that, and the other. If you support it, send a tip, subscribe. If not, well, at least you learned something, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like they get all wrapped up in being an influencer instead of saying, okay, here's the education you need to have in order to make a better decision. And of course, have some advocacy with it as well. I was the first one for 2 years now to say, hey, we need the laws passed. If you ever want to see the scale of value, use these techs. And it was only, 8 months ago that they're like, hey, we need the laws. This is a joke, you know? These guys, I'm not sure, I don't believe that they've studied the issue.
Yeah, I will say this. There are a lot of folks. I've been in this space since 2019. And I dipped my toe around town, dipped it around town. I saw different people. I like to call it graduation. I've graduated in my knowledge. I've expanded my thinking, right? And in some respects, some of these things I think kept crypto alive and got more and more people involved, interested to learn. Unfortunately, there are still folks that get stuck in that hype phase where they got the, what is up? It's, I'm not even going to say who it is, but there are certain influencers.
Here's the moon stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The moon boy. And, those are like little fun things. And, it gets people excited and stuff, the bit boys of the world and that sort of thing. But at some point, the people where I say, like myself, God showed me. Okay. And so I was able to see, open my eyes and expand my thinking and see beyond that and graduate beyond the hype and recognize the importance of the transformation that we're living through right now. So it's a very important transformative time. And so I often say everyone is playing a part.
Transformative this time is that, you know, all of these laws are hitting right now as Trump is trying to reshore manufacturing, as he's trying to take out these vectors of instability, as he's trying, you know, he's got $20 trillion worth of trade deals that he was able to get. And then you look at it side by side with, well, why were they trying to stop Trump in the first place? And then you start looking at Ripple and they're like, well, they got targeted as soon as Trump was going out the door in 2020. And Biden put a stop to all of the, you know, actual legislation that we need for these crypto companies to operate. You still there?
Yep, but I just lost your camera. Hold on. We're gonna bring him back. We'll bring him back, guys. Yeah, his camera went black. I want to give a shout out to Optimistic Prime, who's on vacation with her family right now, but she's dipping her toe. And of course, our good friend Nerdy X is in the house. Thank you guys so much for coming. Hopefully, we can get him back in here. Yeah, he's bringing up a lot of good points. I can't wait to talk to him more about it. You know, this is something that I think a lot of people kind of miss because, you know, especially when you talk about Trump, there's a lot of feelings about Trump. Either you really love him or you really hate him, you know, and it's really prompted people to do more research than they normally would have done. All right, let's get him back in here. There you are. Let's go.
You know, ever since I started doing this, every single time I've went live, it's been this. It's been like this. Like every space I've ever done, like there's some sort of technical difficulty and whatnot. And everything was hardwired back here. And now we're running through my phone, which has better service, you know, than actual. It's the CIA, everybody. It's the CIA.
I tell you.
Just go to my profile and, you know, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was saying, you know, you were bringing up Trump. So before we move on, you piqued my interest. And I don't know, like, I know the people that really follow your channel probably already know all about this. But for the dip-a-toers who aren't familiar with yourself, tell us a little bit about your experience. I mean, you said you ran for office and you were on Trump's campaign. What was your experience doing that? Because this is one of the things that I believe, Vinny, we have been living in an exercise, in my opinion, since before Trump went down that escalator. And the exercise is wake the hell up. All these people get involved. When Trump came down the escalator and his first inauguration, when he said, I'm giving the power back to you, the people, right? The people are the ones that have to make these things happen, make our government run the way it's supposed to run. And so you standing up and actually running for office and then working on his campaign, you heard the call, you did it. So I want to know what your experience was with that.
Well, back in 2011, when I was a delegate for Ron Paul's campaign, that was my first foray into this right before I ran for office later that fall. So we did the caucus. Do you know what a caucus is for the primaries?
Yes.
So anyway, every state sets up a caucus, and then it's a series of voters that get in there, and then they choose delegates to then get sent to the state convention, and then from those delegates at the state convention, then go on to the national convention to then choose the presidential candidate. Yes. So in Jefferson County, Missouri, delegates swept. We totally swept the caucus. And guess what the old guys did? The old codgers inside the Republican Party. They stole the voter rolls. So we couldn't send any of our delegates down to the state convention. that was my first foray into it. Are you still there?
I'm still here. We've got your audio, but not your visual.
Are you still
Darn it.
there?
Yes, we have your audio. I'm gonna remove. Well, all right. He removed himself. He'll be back in a minute. So yeah, I'm curious if he talking about that. I used to follow a fella named Dilly. Gosh, maybe back in 2015, 2016, that sort of thing. And he did the same thing. He ran, and he wasn't chosen. Let's see, there we go, got him back in here. I was just saying that I used to follow a fella named Dilly, Brendan Dilly, that also ran for office just like yourself. And he wasn't chosen, and he kind of went through the whole thing of like how crappy of the system, the way that it works. It's all a charade and that sort of thing. So I was wondering if you think if your experience was the same. Can you hear me? Nope. Oh, we got tripping balls in the house. Let's see. No Vinny, Fuma Boys. Shout out to Niall Cottrell. We love you, Niall. I miss you, my friend. We have 202 people watching. I tell you what, we're getting little bits and pieces, but what we're getting is gold. So let's go. Let's get him back in here. Can you hear me now?
Gosh, this is getting really ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
Me out.
I'll tell you what. As many times as you get kicked out, I'll bring you right back in. It's not a big deal. It happens. So I was telling the audience that I had a friend named Brendan Dilly who also ran for office and also experienced the shenanigans with running, and he said, it was all a charade, and like the guy that they picked, it was just a bunch of BS. So I just wondered what your experience was.
Well, did you catch like the story was they stole the rolls from the caucus. So yeah, all the voters that were in there that did the caucus, and we won the caucus for Ron Paul's delegates, and then the old guys stole the rolls, and so Jefferson County didn't send any delegates to the state convention that year. That's how crooked it is. So that was my first foray into it. Then I ran for office. Then the IRS came after the House and family. And then, finally by 2024, after the assassination attempt, I'm like, you know what, this sucks. I'm going to go out there and knock on doors. So that's what I did. And everybody else should do the same, because we got to win these midterms. If we don't win it, we are so screwed. I don't even want to think about it. So that's why I'm going to be heading out again on the campaign trail here in about a month or so. And what's pretty cool is the Republican Party, they'll send you to any district that you need help in. They need help in. So hopefully they put me in some place, and I'll just let everybody know where I'm at, on X, and be like, hey, if you want to meet up, sure, let's do that. But
well, they probably love you because you are so outspoken, right? And like, we need a wide variety of voices in this space, in whether it's in the digital asset space or politics or anywhere. We need a voice that's going to shock people or shake them up a little bit. And you do that very well, sir.
Oh, thanks. I try and do my best. But, for everybody that's listening, please go to my profile where there's no glitches. There's no interrupting my speaking at all. And you can literally go line by line on all the video content I've made, literally explaining this. Okay, so about less than 5 minutes. I don't do any ads, reads, or anything like that. So you can just, absorb the information and live a better life. So so just do that. And I always make sure to keep it updated with the events that are going on of the day. And I got a pretty good track record of calling stuff a bit early this past 2 years or so. So, and I'm one of the few guys on X you can actually grok. Has he been accurate? Has he sold anything? All that other type of stuff. So I understand how it's like with you don't know who to trust online because and make sure when you're looking into somebody that A, you can grok them. B, which is just the AI where you can go search. Who are they? B, that they have a clean record. Okay, so they need to have a clean record about not being a part of meme coins or anything shady like that. So Vincent SCO 72192 at x.com, and you can contact me there. I'll tell you where to go for all the educational material.
There you go. Thank you, William, for posting his handle on X. And just so you know, Vinny, your camera's black again, but your audio is coming in clear. So I'm just letting you know.
Well, maybe we just keep it like that.
We'll do it like this for a minute, and then maybe we'll try to get you back on camera. So I do want to move on to talking about XRP. I want to know how you see XRP itself and the XRP Ledger fitting into this new financial rails that are being built.
Well, it's permissionless. It's permissionless. So this is one of the things that we're going to run into the future. People setting up these private ledgers, and that's basically for like in-house type of operations. Moving money around from one department to another. You don't want that to be public knowledge. So, of course, you'll do that on your own private ledger. But these companies, these corporations still need to interface with each other and then down to the people. So either person to business to business, government to government, whatever. So they're going to need a permissionless platform in order to do that. And that's exactly what XRPL is designed to do. And XRP is the native token for it. So anything that you do over the XRPL, it uses XRP itself. Okay? And when it does, it burns a fraction. So it's deflationary. And the more transactions that occur, it's frequency, volume, amounts, so it's velocity, the more pressure, upward price pressure there is on XRP itself. So that's what the promise is of XRP. Now, Ripple, the company, is doing all of these acquisitions and acquiring of licensure in order to generate and sustain the demand for the use of their technology once the laws are effective. Because when the laws are effective, the institutions themselves who got all the money can then transmute their value into the form of stablecoins, foreign CBDC, tokenized assets, and securities to then use the tech to settle. So the laws have to be effective for all of this to go live. For liability protection. So these institutions are not going to just go willy-nilly about your money using this tech to transmit and settle the transaction. No, they need to be protected by laws and have a compliance schedule associated with it. Now, Ripple is in a unique position because they have acquired all of the licensure, acquired all of the corporate infrastructure in order to facilitate all of that. So all these institutions are going to be going like, okay, where do I go now that all of this is legal to use? Ripple stands right there to say, hey, we have a quick onboarding time and we can get you set up and you can start cutting costs. Because that's the sale point of using these cryptocurrencies, is that you can cut cost and cut time. So right now to settle a transaction, it's 3 to 5 days under the SWIFT system, sending money around the world. But with XRP and the XRPL, it's 3 to 5 seconds and at a fraction of the cost. So that stabilizes the exchange rate and it preserves the value transmission itself. Now, where it gets very exciting for all of us is that we can choose which stablecoin, and a stablecoin is just something that's linked to a Federal Reserve note. And our Federal Reserve notes are right now designated as legal tender. That's why we call it $1. But they can expand that definition from Federal Reserve notes to now be these stable coins. And our Supreme Court has already given us protection by saying cash or equivalent in unrestricted wages. So a lot of people will walk around and say, well, they're going to control your money. Actually, no, they can't, because we have a Supreme Court precedent against that. That's number one. And number two, the principle of market competition. So they're not going to want to try and control how you spend your stable coins, or else they will lose market share. Everybody will leave that issuer of that stable coin. So you see how markets actually preserve freedom because they have to compete, okay? So when we can choose our issuer and the units that they issue, that's where we can break this entire scam apart. And the scam is that they print up Federal Reserve notes to infinity. Well, with these stablecoin issuers, they have to have a one-to-one backing. So that means everything in circulation must be backed one-to-one by highly liquid assets. So what's a highly liquid asset? Right now, it's just treasuries, which is the United States government debt. But in the future, if you tokenize something, which is what the Clarity Act is going to be outlining rules all about, you tokenize something, it now becomes liquid, because all you need for liquidity is speed and a market. When you tokenize something, it picks up that speed of being on the blockchain. And then all you need is a market after that. And that is determined by us. So now let's put this all together. So an issuer then issues out a stablecoin that has a backing. Now we can judge between these competing issuers which one has the best backing for us to use. Some may use gold and silver. Some may use gold, silver, and real estate. Some may use just government debt. The point is we get to choose. And the market always has said, good money will drive out the bad. So bad money is those that are based on debt. That's the Federal Reserve note, because they print it to infinity. So the debt is infinite as well. And the central bank is there to buy it all up, to keep the scam going, which is causing more inflation, which means we're all circling the toilet bowl just a little bit faster every year.
Exactly.
So this is about what do we get paid in? What is our value? At the basic level of our economy is one lie to which all the other lies in our lives are built upon, that you can create wealth from nothing. So that's because of the money printer. It causes inflation. And because they control the payment rails via SWIFT, well, now they can control the world. And this is the issue that we're running up against throughout all of geopolitics. They all know that this is coming to an end because of blockchain, because it is the nuclear bomb that went off. So they're stalling the Clarity Act from getting done. They're stalling the SAVE Act from getting done, because they know with those two pieces of legislation, we get control of our electoral process as well as our economy by tokenizing things, cutting out all the fraud, etc. That basically refounds our republic. So of course they're stalling it. That's how much money this is threatening. That's in these dark shadow flows of money out there. If you look at USAID, that was all fraud. That was used against our own citizens and those around the world to push political objectives. And they stole it. Congress authorized that fraud. So they're using our own money against us. Now, by going on the blockchain, it puts all of that out in the open. So all of these shell corporations that the CIA uses to, flood drugs into Los Angeles, that they then use to buy up weapons in Nicaragua to fight the Sandinistas. That was a CIA operation, late 80s. All of that goes away because it's all then on a public ledger.
On a public ledger, you can see it. You know, the thing is, I always look back to the comment, these people are stupid years ago. And the fact is the, you know, especially like even with Bitcoin, they thought they were anonymous, all these
Yeah.
shysters. And they were suckers. They went right into the trap. They went right into the trap. Didn't realize that it's all visible, all visible. So, you know, one thing I wanted to get your perspective on was so the fact that, you know, the countries around the world where the XRP and the XRP Ledger, XRP used as a bridge asset, being able, you don't have to hold millions of dollars in every country to be able to do commerce or
Right.
get loans from be beholden to the IMF. And that these countries can be sovereign, have their own currencies, keep their own currency, their own rules and everything, still transact with another country across the world instantaneously for pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
What's your perspective? I mean, my name is World Be Free. I want the world be free. And I believe with all my heart and soul that that is exactly what is happening. It's not happening overnight, but it's definitely happening right before our eyes for those with the eyes to see. What do you think?
Yeah, and when you think about tokenization and it dovetails right into what you're just saying about them, you know, using their own currencies and things like that. Tokenization means that these countries can then hold their own gold again and then just pawn out the token for quick capital to then rebuy that same token. So the gold never left throughout that entire thing, but they raised their capital. So you can match the digital token with the skew on the physical bar that's being held in that country. What does this mean? So the Bank of England holds gold reserves for many other nations. And if you do not follow what the Bank of England says, they will just take your gold. That violates their custodian rights. I mean, they did that against the czars. So 1917, the Bolsheviks took over. The czars held their gold with the Bank of England. They didn't give that gold to the Bolsheviks. It just disappeared. It's one of the greatest gold heists of all time. But you see how big of a threat that is. Now, none of us like communism. We all disagree with it, but there's a bigger principle at the fact that they stole what wasn't theirs. They did the same against Venezuela. They did the same against Libya. They did the same against Iraq. They did the same against whoever steps out of line. So, like and these are all bad guys. You know, no one's saying that they're good people, but it's the point of fact that they can take what you own. But with tokenization, that gold would have never left the owner's country. They can just pawn out the digital token onto the open market to then rebuy that specific token in the future. So it frees all of these countries again to have their own self-determination. And that's what every sovereign nation deserves. That's what every sovereign people deserves, is a freedom like that. So that's why this tech is massively impactful for all of geopolitics. I mean, from us getting gas to high-level wire transfers. So, like, it's this entire panorama of all of it. And I guess I got kind of just a little bit famous just talking about how everything is actually dovetailed in with one another throughout this entire thing. So, you know, if you ever want to learn more about it, just hit up my profile, and it's all there, man.
Yeah, go to Vinny's profile for sure. And I will say you are one that I think connects the dots very well, where you get it. You get the broader thing that's going on here. And as I say, we all graduate in our learning. We stumble upon it, And, maybe at first someone thinks it's just about number go up. And then they're like, oh, this is like a really cool technology. Oh, this is really changing the rails and the way in which we do. And then you start watching the conferences and the hearings and listening
and then you
to
realize
President Trump, and then you're like, oh my goodness, this is really, really huge.
This is bigger. This is a fight that's been in the works now for 1,000 years. The Templars, everybody knows about the Knights Templar or whatever, but they were the original bankers throughout Europe. What you do is you go to a commandery, you deposit your coins, they give you a slip of paper, you then make the pilgrimage to Jerusalem, hand in that slip of paper to the local commandery, and then they give you your gold. So minus a fee. That was the first banks. And the Templars got so big doing that King Philip the Fair of France, he was dead broke. He got the Pope he helped install the Pope, to then disband the Templars for the King of France to then seize all of the Templars' gold, real estate, whatever. So it was a gigantic heist. And it was only in 2001 that the Chinon parchment totally cleared the Templars of any wrongdoing. You see, he got them arrested based off of heresy. And there was they tortured them and whatnot just to get them to confess, to, being devil worshippers and all this other stuff. But it was really just to steal their gold, steal their land, steal everything, because the king was broke. But the Pope didn't want to go through with it the entire way. He actually had his second council convened that then cleared the Templars of all charges. But by that time, it didn't matter. Philip had already spent all the gold.
I want to know what role do you see the Trump administration playing in this whole transition that's happening, and how does the global cooperation or competition, as you mentioned, the competition, factor into this new system that's being built?
Well, Trump I see as the person that is getting our house in order to be able to just stand up on the other side of this. This is throwing all the cards up in the air. And because we have outsourced all of our manufacturing these last 60 years and our strategic, goods, inputs, throughputs, outputs of an economy, he now is working to near shore or bring onto shore all of that strategic manufacturing. So that's their first part. He's then making sure our allies, who are holding a lot of government debt, are getting cashed out of their government debt in exchange for securities and assets. So that way, when finally the debt collapses, which it will happen, we're at 40 trillion now, it's never going to be paid off, it only can be collapsed. He's making sure all the people that are holding debt holdings that are our actual friends are getting cashed out for securities and assets. So that way they will be stable on the other side of this thing as well. So he's very a transfigurative figure in this whole thing, because he's making sure our country can be sovereign on the other side of this. So he's, cutting taxes, cutting regulations,
building infrastructure back up in our manufacturing so that we can produce our own goods and services and all of that.
Exactly.
As well.
So that way, on the other side of this whole thing, we're able to be a prosperous country and be in peace. So all of these things he's doing right now have to be done, and they have to be done in a certain order. And you have to remember, too, there's a lot that these politicians got themselves involved in. So the 2020 election theft, COVID crimes against humanity, human trafficking, drug trafficking, all of these things that these politicians have been involved in, and they know it. So there's a series of leverage that's going on here that we can only really catch glimpses of it, that we get from the news and from the headlines and whatnot. But you have to remember, the NSA has us all. We're in a surveillance state right now. They have all the records. And, he keeps saying,
they have it all.
He keeps saying, I caught them all. I caught them all. Well, maybe he actually did. And all of this that we're just seeing is just theater. And, they already have all this playing out. But speaking about competition, you have to remember that the BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and about 40 other nations, they have something called the BRICS unit that they're already doing trials of, which that is backing by gold. It's like a stable coin, but it's backed by gold. So it's going to be their money. That I see as the catalyst for all of these issuers who are doling out these stable coins based off of debt to then dump the debt because they have to compete with the BRICS unit to then dump the debt for securities and assets, which means we all go on the asset monetary system in practice. And the Fed is just going to be there to, pick up the tab for all the debt that's left over, because they always have. In every single crisis, the central bank is the buyer of last resort. Well, now it's going to be the buyer of the first resort. So that's just about where we're at with it. And Trump's leading this transition. Now, the enemy does get a vote, and that's why these midterms are going to be so important. By now, we should have had the Clarity Act done. We should have had the SAVE Act done. We should have had full control of the Federal Reserve Board, but we don't, because SCOTUS, they punted on the Cook case to get Lisa Cook out of there, and now he's trying a different method to get Lisa Cook out of there so we can get control of the Federal Reserve Board, which is important, so we can then drop the interest rates and then buy up all the debt after this other series of events occurs. So BRICS has the ace with BRICS unit at the end state of all of this. And you have to keep that in your mind, that once these stablecoins get out there and adopted and we're using it as wages, well, they can just swap the backing really quick on it. And then we're all on the asset monetary system instead of the dollar leverage system with all the debt and endless debts. So these issuers then, who did stabilize the debt market at that point, now won't be, because they're going to be dumping their debt in order to compete. Fed's going to have to buy it all up, and they have a CBDC ban, and they've already been abandoning Federal Reserve notes all around the world for those stablecoins themselves.
Man, I often say I see Trump as, well, number one, I think the way that this is handled, I agree with you. This all has to be handled very delicately, and it's very complicated. Everything is intertwined. And personally, I think it's being handled as responsible and carefully as possible. And some of the folks, like you say, that got caught up in these bad dealings, there's a lot of people that get frustrated. They want to see the perp walks and all of this stuff. And I'm like, you're probably not going to see that with a lot of these people. But I do believe that they're being controlled. Because why? Because they know what they did, and they're going to act it out and do what they're supposed to do until the end of the script for them. And then they're gone. And then what happens behind closed doors is going to happen behind closed doors. The fact of the matter is, these things are being addressed, very carefully. And I see Trump as the quote unquote CEO. I've worked for several companies where all of a sudden you get a new CEO who comes in and he does the job he was hired to do, which is generally a sweeping of, a lot of the people and changing of policies and procedures and the whole 9 yards. Generally, they're a very controversial person in the company, and they don't stay for very long, and then they're gone. And then you get a nice, calm person that comes in. And this is where I see Trump's role, and he is not afraid to ruffle feathers. He's not afraid to force the hand by doing things that he knows will anger and force those on the opposite side to object against, even if they're doing it themselves. They have to. So
look at the ethics thing for the Clarity Act. I mean, he literally violated it to the point 100%. Where they were begging for it. They were begging for it. It was always a non-issue. So this is just how Trump works. You have to bait them out in order to get what we want. And now they're like, ban presidents from, dealing with crypto. He's like, sure, okay. Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah. He's done that. He's done that his whole presidency with so many things, not just the digital asset space, but so many things. I think it's really interesting how this has all been handled. And I do think, I agree with you when you say the bankers and that they're kind of they're fighting back against it. They're delaying, they're dragging their feet. I also think that they thought they had this in the bag to begin with their Bitcoin and the Ethereum and that sort of thing. Kind of
CBDCs.
Yeah, all of that stuff, and they didn't quite realize what was happening.
Yeah.
As far as when you look at the XRP ledger and the tools that have been given, those with the eyes to see and the willingness to build on it and learn about it, realize what a powerful tool that has been given to the world, because anybody, it's not just United States, it's anyone in any part of the world can use the XRP ledger, can build on the XRP ledger, can experiment with it, see it, test it, make sure that it works. We've been building trust for all of these years and nobody is the wiser. And then they go and sue them and all of this stuff. And they weren't ready. And guess what? We are.
Yeah, and
they're building, they're buying, they're doing all kinds of things. So I wonder your perspective on that.
Well, it's the point of competition that this platform, the XRPL, where we can pick and choose our wages for whatever stablecoin that we deem has the proper pedigree to it. So a pedigree is where you're like, okay, is the issuer good? Are they trusted? And what are they using to back their stablecoin? And naturally, people are going to gravitate towards securities and assets. So that's the best thing that we can do, because that puts the brakes on Congress to run a deficit, because they cannot sell the debt anymore. Okay, if you can't sell the debt, that means you can't run a deficit. So all of this is about attacking the debt market itself. Like when yields jump up 4 or 5%, whatever it is, that is signaling that debt needs to be sold at a higher interest rate in order to make it profitable for the buyer, to entice them. Okay, that's why watching the yields on whatever treasuries there are out there is important. If they raise yields, that means they need more buyers for government debt, because everybody's looking at this thing, $40 trillion. How are they going to pay it off? Well, it's never been done before in the history of the world. Never has a debt this large been paid off like that. So it's not going to happen. So as we move forward with all these issuers collateralizing their stablecoin, we're going to have to judge what is the best stablecoin there is based on its backing. So the best would be a stablecoin that's backed by a basket of things. So gold, silver, parts of the Fortune 500 of the stock market, things of that nature. And, another thing that gets brought into this, when you talk about tokenization, talking about choosing your money, when you talk about prices of something, this goes back to something called Austrian economics. So I highly advise anybody to read Ludwig von Mises, F.A. Hayek, Henry Hazlitt, all these famous economists who got it right on the macroeconomic side of all of this, instead of George Maynard Keynes and deficits don't matter. No, deficits do matter, because now we can start to transmit in other forms of value. Deficits don't matter if you got a gun to everybody's head, making sure that they're using the Fed note and using the SWIFT service. But it all falls apart when they can transmit freely, which is exactly what blockchain and something like the XRPL is doing. So all these sovereign nations can get free of it. Now, throughout the course of this transition, Trump clearly has the reins on it. And as Macron said, it looks like Trump and Xi are working against, Trump, Xi, and Putin are working against Europe, which is pretty much what's going on.
Yeah,
to lead this transition.
I was going to ask you. I have often thought that for a long time, that the three of them have been working together.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear and obvious. I mean, Putin's keeping them pinned in Ukraine, the Europeans who wanted to have that war go on. And remember, they had all the bioweapons manufacturing inside of Ukraine that Russia pestered the UN about. They had a whole huge thing about Hunter Biden and Hillary Clinton and, basically the Democrats and the CIA using Ukraine as a CIA playground. And Putin went in did the whole Ukraine deal, that would have spiraled into a world war if Kamala would have won. But Trump won. He's now in there. And obviously, Zelensky and the rest of the bureaucrats, they want to keep Ukraine going. But Putin, look what's going on with this Iran thing. Treasury has authorized that Putin can sell his oil, which ostensibly is more funds for his war effort. So he's flooding with oil. Meanwhile, the Europeans, they are the ones that took away all of their energy generation, so they have to buy from Russia. It's insane, what these Europeans are trying to pull off here with this net zero stuff and, the WEF, Klaus Schwab. They've always been a massive problem. And Russia's tired of dealing with them, having to rely on their energy buys to keep his revenues flowing. So he wants to come south through the Caucasus, out through the Strait of Hormuz. China wants to go through Iran, open up the old Silk Road up into Europe. So this is about global trade routes through Iran. That's why the whole Iran thing is even going on still. Because this is about new trade routes. And it's looking like Trump is kind of sacrificing the mid-Asian corridor and saying, China, you take that. We're going to take the trade lanes on the sea because of our Navy. And then Russia, you can go out through the Arctic and then down through the Caucasus to go and sell your energy. And then Europe's just standing around because they are literally doing policies, bringing on in all the illegal immigrants, getting rid of their energy generation. They want to destroy the West itself, so they're just as crazy as the people running Iran.
Can we try to get you back on camera?
Sure.
Leave and come back. We got people like, I can't see Vinny's face. I want to see Vinny's face. If you can leave and come back, that would be fantastic.
Sure.
Okay. We'll get them back in here, guys. Boy, I want to welcome. We have 288 people. CCTV, MetaMan X is in the house. What is up? We've got who else did I see that was new that I've never seen in here before? Lots of new people. Buddha 18, what's up? Thank you for coming to the Dipito Show. This is a fantastic conversation, you guys. We're gonna have him come back in. If his camera goes out again, I won't ask him to leave again because we were at least having good audio. It happens to me every time. I get a super awesome guest and then there's some kind of technical difficulty. But let's get him back in here. There he is. All right, so we get to see your beautiful face.
Yeah.
This is the thing that amazes me about you. Like, you have so much in your brain, and you're so much like actually one of our mutual friends on X mentioned that she had talked to you about Mr. Man like over a year ago. He is another well-rounded researcher, very smart man, a good friend of mine. And you guys remind me of each other. You have so much in your brain, so much information. A conversation between the two of you would be just dynamite. Like, I would love to introduce you to each other and get you guys to have a conversation sometime because
sure.
He's fantastic, like yourself.
Sure thing.
Yeah, so I mean, this is like so much information for people, but I'm hoping the Dipitoers are realizing the impact of all of this. I mean, there's so much more than when someone says like, oh, you don't talk about crypto or whatever. It's like, guys, it's so much bigger than dipping your toe into a crypto and number go up thing. Like, the whole foundation is being laid. It's such a big deal.
You have to know economics. You have to know civics. You have to know a bit of history. So because all of this ties together. I mean, we don't live in a vacuum. Everything affects everything else, and once you just approach it like that, it becomes a lot easier. And if you, like I said, the Dipitoers out there, just go to my profile, Vincent SCO 72192, and I do all these chalkboard videos just so you can get a real simplistic view of it. And I talk pretty gruff in it because, you know, that's just who I am, and I don't really. Here it is, man. You know, you'll just laugh at it, but but it's all information that you need to know about how this is going to all dovetail together, and how you can, you know, best protect yourself and prepare for this future. And the first thing you can do is get a wallet. So I personally use Zaman. No, they don't pay me to say that or anything. And from Zaman, it's just held on your phone, so called a hot wallet. But anyway, it's something that you can securely, you know, it's self-custody, all of your crypto, and then you could do wallet-to-wallet transactions with your stablecoins when we cross that bridge. You know, you could do it now, but, you know, it's going to be a lot easier going forward once the laws are effective.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one of the best ways to do it. You can get started with a Coinbase to buy XRP, you know, just very simplistic to how to get involved in this.
Yeah, I think too, this is an incredible opportunity for people to dip their toe into it, create a Zaman wallet. Now, me, when I first came in 2019, buying XRP, I was having it on Exodus, and I actually wasn't on the actual native wallet, right? And so I didn't know much about any of the thing that has to do with the XRP ledger. I was merely just buying the asset XRP and holding it on the Exodus wallet. And through my journey, learning about the XRP ledger and what an incredible tools that are available made it so where it's like, oh my gosh. And as soon as I got a Zaman wallet, I'm like, it opened up a lot of opportunities, and you can see the different builders. And so, you know, our show, we do focus and shine the spotlight on the folks that are building on the XRP ledger, the folks that are learning about the XRP ledger, or you know, educating folks. Fabio from Zowdow says, crypto is simply a new way to move, store, and exchange value digitally, faster, more transparently, and with fewer middlemen. And I absolutely do agree with that. One of the things, so like we've got about 40 minutes left or so, and there's a couple things I still want to talk about with you. One of them is the fact that you are considered a community funded journalist, right? You're very clear that you're community funded, publicly funded, whatever you want to call it. What does that mean to you, you know, in practice day to day? I mean, it's different from the people, the typical influencers that get paid by, you know, like you said, Zaman doesn't pay me to say this or whatever. You got a lot of people. Dip a Toe Show, just so you know, we don't really, we're not sponsored by anybody either, although we are partners with two very important places that I have vetted, and that is I Trust Capital, which I believe strongly in, and Caleb and Brown. For folks that want to buy larger amounts of digital assets. Those two are the ones, but we definitely don't shill them. It's just something that I have vetted. But we've had lots of people like message us and say, you know, would you like to be a spokesperson or whatever? And we don't do that either. You don't. So what is your position on that, and considering yourself a crowd-funded, so to speak, journalist?
Well, it's issue of, okay, I don't want to have conflicted interests, you know, conflicts of interest. That's number one. I want to be able to speak my own mind and, you know, cover the truth as best as I can do it. And the only thing.
Darn it.
Still there?
Yes, still here.
So it's always been just been tips and subscriptions and the minor revenue sharing that X, you know, gives, and that's just the way I've always done it. I don't want to have sponsors or TV ads or merch or any of that other stuff. Like, I just feel like that gets in the way of trying to just give out education to people. Like how would it be if I'm like trying to tell you something and then boom, I have to shoehorn an ad in between that. It just ruins the whole flow, ruins the whole deal. And it's like, okay, who can you trust out there? Because all these other guys, like, it's a new wallet. They're trying to shill everybody every other week. And it's like, I use Zaman, so that's what I'm going to say. I came to that from my own logic, not because anybody's, paying me to say that. With these other guys, it's like every other week, it's a different freaking wallet they're getting sponsored by. So it's like, it confuses the people, basically. So it's better to just keep everything, have a bright line. The only time I was sponsored to go to XRP Las Vegas, but that was for an event. That was through John Denver Parody and the Anon community on X to go to XRP Las Vegas, to where I covered it as their journalist. So they sent me the funds for that. And then I went there and I got the best story from it, which is David Schwartz answering my question, did Ripple build a financial system? And of course it was yes. And it was funny afterwards, I got called a liar for it. And David had to get on X and basically reaffirm that yes, that whole interview actually did happen. So it was one of those take a victory lap moments. But, after that, of course, the influencers, they just suppress that piece of knowledge.
Yeah.
But, I just feel like this is the most honest way. Yeah, I just feel like this is the most honest way to do it, to where no one's giving me a script to say I'm not, taking deals for whatever. It's we got too much of that. Somebody just needs to talk in plain language and just talk about the world and what they know. So I've studied my whole life basically for this. It's all available for two, man. If you learn, send a tip.
I tell you what, Vinny, and this is the thing, because there are a lot of people that will say, well, he has subscribers and he's getting paid or whatever. Well, I will say this. The amount of work that it takes to do what you do is a lot, okay? The amount of work that it takes me to do what I do is a lot. I have a full-time job myself. If I could do this full-time and actually support myself, I would, but I can't. But I will say that, having the public fund you, and we're talking like $5 here or whatever. We're not talking hundreds of dollars of these people, but it's the collective. It's what the people want, to give someone a tip for your time, your energy and effort to give them the information. And it's by choice, right? If you were to accept, and this is where I'm proud of you. I want to say this publicly. I'm proud of you for going this route. Okay. Because there are folks that get to your status where you have 65,000 followers on YouTube. Okay. Or on X of subscribers.
I have 1,600 subscribers, 68,000. I call them readers. It's followers, but I hate that lingo of followers. Like, I never use it.
I say friends. They're friends. But here's the thing. Somebody with money, they go, oh, look at this guy. He has a voice. I'm going to dangle the money carrot in front of them. And then now I am going to keep, him from saying the things that I don't want him to say.
Exactly.
And people can be bought. And so when you're your own person and you can't be bought, and somebody wants to gift you something for this, or just because they want to support you, it doesn't mean they're paying for the information, but they're saying, attaboy, good for you. We appreciate you. I think that's fantastic. And I would rather get information from someone who's not bought.
Yeah, thank you so much. And, it's the thanks is really due to the subscribers, due to, all these people that, we all believe in the same things. And we just want to have an honest source of information to be able to talk to people about all this stuff, who's not going to have some sort of ulterior motive, or to be, basically gagged from some high roller or some company or whatever else. So let's just cut out all of that. We just need to talk to each other as plain as can be, tell the truth about what all this is. And, it's only thanks to them that I've been able to do this for this long. And, the more subscribers I get, well, that just means the more time I have to do this. Like you said, like we both work, our own jobs and stuff. And then this is what we do extra, and there's a lot of risk involved. You go out there, put your real self on the line for it to be either accepted or to be, made fun of, whatever it is. But, I've had death threats while doing this when I was exposing the scams of those meme coins for what they were. When you get in the way between that and the easy money, you're pariah. So that's why you probably won't see me mentioned by any of the big influencers, because it's like, well, if their people find out about me, why follow them?
Yeah.
So, it's a bit of their self-preservation there, that they don't even mention that this corner even exists. But, that's up to the people. My account has been fully organic the entire time. It's not even really, I don't even really view it as my account. It's our account,
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. So we've got about 35 minutes or so, maybe 30 minutes or so before we have to say goodbye. You did mention the meme coins, and so I do want to touch on this subject with you. You've been very clear that the real power is the technology itself.
Right.
The ledger is a tool for moving value efficiently, and the bigger economic implications. In the Dip a Toe show, we try to shine the light on the people that are actually building those primitives. We look at the issued assets on the XRP Ledger. And a lot of what gets labeled memes is actually just someone creating a trust line token and experimenting with it. How do you see the experimental layer fitting or not fitting with the serious infrastructure work that you see?
Well, here's the thing. People need to remember they have their own tech guys. They have their own to do a lot of that. So what I oppose is all of a sudden these influencers get tied up with those people in order to say, oh, it's going to go boom to the moon, whatever, and then they get a bunch of people to buy in order for the influencer and the tech person to then pull the bag. So they basically just robbed everybody doing that. And so it gets very corrupt, and we don't even know if it's even for that said project. It could be something that CIA is doing. We have no idea, no way of knowing. So I just advise everybody, look at the company that's producing the tech to decide, and then understand what the tech is, to then decide if you want that tech. So that's why I just always have made it just be like, okay, here's what it is, here's who Ripple is, decide for yourself. And I always put myself on the line and say, I've bought it, I'm not going to talk about something I don't believe in. So it's that type of real belief in what we're doing with a public forum that I think needs to be reimposed back again. Like these people that God gave them as big of a platform as they have, and they're using it for their own gain. Like they're not trying to help end the scam that we're all seem to be enslaved by. Like something's wrong there. So I just kind of had it. I was like, okay, we're going to run this all very straightforward, and hopefully we can get these laws passed quicker, for some more political advocacy. And we just go back to rebuilding our lives.
I will say this. So I do agree with you, and I think that you are mainly referencing these really big influencers. You talked about the influencers, and I know your focus is mainly on them. I wasn't sure if you were aware of like the smaller builders that we focus and shine the light on the Dip a Toe show, because the XRP Ledger, like we said, they've created quite a just a whole bunch of tools that really inspire and enable small businesses in peer-to-peer interactions. And so basically, not talking about these large influencers and these projects where they're rug pulling and stuff. And yes, there are some of these smaller ones that do it too, but basically pretty much on the XRP ledger, everything beyond XRP is issued a currency or as an NFT. So the same trust line, the DEX machinery that will carry RLUSD or other tokenized treasuries are what these community tokens are exercising. And what I see is that a lot of builders, they start there, they're just learning the mechanics. They create a currency code, they set trust lines, they move value peer to peer, they're testing the pathfinding, all of these types of things before they move the real world assets or payment flows. So, and so
Mike.
Mike, are you aware of these? Are you aware of this?
After XRP Las Vegas, I actually had an interview with Mike. He won.
Yes.
He won from 2025. I forgot what was the name of his company. What was that?
XRP. Mike and Will from XRP. They're good friends of ours.
Yeah. I did a interview with Mike, and they have a great little business to try and figure things out. And what I like too is they're not trying to tell everybody to the moon. They're not trying to do any of that type of thing. It's like you have to look at the rhetorical devices that they use and then indict them based on that. Like if they're trying to tell you that it's going to the moon, look at this date, you better buy. It's like, okay, what are you actually trying to do here, man? Because this is really departing from just core development and just raising awareness. Now you're involving all of these money flows into this instead of just being straight up with them and say, hey, we want to fundraise off our project. This is not for a profit type deal. This is not an investment. Like, just watch. Everybody should just be very leery about getting involved with these type of things and make sure they're not trying to rug pull you. So it's this ounce of prevention that's going to cause a lot of headache, that to just prevent a lot of that. You know what I mean?
Well, absolutely. And that is why, Vincent, Vinny, we have the third Wednesday of every month. We have a series called The Faces of Crypto, and we present, and we only allow people to come on that show their face, right? Because the people that hide behind the memes and that kind of stuff, I don't really want them on the show. I want the real builders, and a lot of these projects, these tokens create real volume on the DEX, and they're forcing people to learn how to use wallets, how to set trust lines, how the settlement part of it works. And so for our builder focused show, it's useful practice. Even if the token itself has no grand utility, I look at it like a testnet activity that happens on the mainnet with social coordination attached. And, the question is whether that activity can be steered toward more serious use cases once people understand the primitives of it. So when you get somebody that creates these projects on a small scale, and like you say, you need to be very transparent about it. Don't be presenting it like you're going to give them a huge profit or something, because I know you're falling into security territory.
Yeah.
But I often say that we are the beta testers. All of us early adopters right now realize that when you're dipping your toe and you're supporting these projects, you're a beta tester in it. So, you need to tread lightly. But I wanted to make sure and see if you recognize that there were these kinds of builders out there, and that not all NFT or memes, quote unquote, meme tokens are bad.
Well, it's like I said, ounce of prevention is to prevent a lot of this heartache that has been going on. Like, we're the beta testers, so forth, but this is also the Wild West. And getting these people on, we've had so many stories of people getting rug pulled and, these meme tokens that just go, we have a hard enough trouble trying to teach people about crypto in the first place. Then we can go into talking about all that different stuff. And, it's great. They do all this building on the XRPL, but you have to remember, too, that these institutions, they have their own tech departments, and they're probably going to go with something they're going to develop themselves. Then, actually loan it out. I mean, unless something has a really great utility, really great company behind it, and they are generating demand for the use of their technology, then you can look at it with a business sense and say, okay, that makes sense. I'm going to buy. And then you have to make sure that they say, okay, how does the use of it correlate to its rise in price? That's one of the key questions in crypto. How does the use of it correlate to its rise in price? And if they can't give you that answer, well, then why are you buying it? You know? So it's a lot of this to say, look, it's better you just understand what the technology is, what this opportunity is, what the world is all about, and how this transformation actually affects you yourself and how you can prepare for it into the future. And then you can go on and take a look at the rest of it. But this is where I feel like I'm minding the door here. You know, where people coming in, a lot of these new people, and I have to be the one to say, look, not every project out there is there to help you, you know, facilitate the transmission of value. Okay, that's what XRP does. Bitcoin, you see all the propaganda around that, but yet Bitcoin, who's Satoshi, where are the bags? How is it not just a dirty clandestine financial bomb? You know, as soon as Satoshi, whoever that is, dumps his bag, the whole thing is going to go through the floor. So you have to put all of this education into somebody's mind and then have them not get the greed bug and then run around trying to buy a meme token to think that that's going to get them free. So I feel like I'm kind of in this position where I have to mind the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I noticed there's two broad groups in the community, maybe more than two, but the two that I noticed the most, one treats everything primarily as a tradable asset that might go up. Okay. The other looks at XRP and the ledger as tools, which is what I'm talking about, something where you build peer-to-peer businesses or coordinate systems to go around it. And the second group that I'm referring to often uses the fun and experimental tokens as low stake ways to stress test the features and onboard people onto or into the actual ledger usage. And so the thing that I think, which is very important, like Dip-a-Toe Show is, in my opinion, an important community builder for people to be able to come in. We're vetting each other. We're talking. We're learning. It's not a shilly type of environment. We're trying to learn how to use this, much like when the internet first came along and you were able to build websites and you had people out there that were teaching you how to use the tools that are out there. We have those same people out there now trying to dive in and understand the ledger and what these tools can do for us as business owners. How can we incorporate that so that we can live free and not only have to use what these big box stores are going to set up the rest of the public for? And so right now, the way that I see it, those with the eyes to see and the inspiration to try and learn, we have free education going on. We have to realize that we have to move carefully, but being able to learn what the ledger can actually do is very powerful. And since I've been dipping my toe into that, over the past like 2 years now, really diving in, it's pretty incredible. And if anything, I'm getting an understanding of how things work in the back end. And so even like the tokenomics of something, like you say, in terms of the liquidity and how things can get rug pulled, how someone sets up a specific project that they're trying to test all these things out. It's very interesting how these work. And ironically, it is a very small scale of what we've talked about of the fiat system, what they've been doing to us all along, right? And so you see some people coming in trying to reproduce that same thing. And actually, over the past couple of years, those guys, a lot of people that are into these things, they see them now for what they are, and they have lost their steam. And so I see more and more strong builders, like you mentioned, Will and Mike from TextRP, building real world use utility. We've got FML. We have the Farmers Union. There's a lot of builders out there that are trying to build utility tools for the public. And so I just wondered, like, do you see any value in that testing phase, or does the speculative energy around it outweigh the learning?
You know, it's really all depends on who's doing it and what are the rhetorical devices that they're using to even talk about the technology. So I weigh based on a rhetorical device metric. So how are they talking about it? Are they being straight up about it? You know, are they saying, you know, to the moon, all this other stuff? So, you know, people just need to be very, very careful. And I serve as that reminder to say, look, if you don't know how this thing is going to make you a profit, or you don't know the use case of it, do a double check. You know, like, everybody's strapped for cash as it is in this economy, you know, because of the inflation, because of this, because of that, la da 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 da. And then you get onto X and it's like, oh, this is the next best thing that you're looking out here. And then what happens is they'll buy up a bunch of bots to then flood the airwaves for it, or coordinate with whoever to start talking about it. And then and it just gets corrupted after that. So the educational part is fine and dandy. You know, no one would oppose that, but everybody should just be leery about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that excited me about having you come on the show is your education work, helping people see the ledger as infrastructure rather than a casino.
Yeah.
But I do think, you know, I want
and
to
oddly enough, a casino that is pretty regulated. I mean, if you ever worked around a casino, like, everything is watched. Every single game has different little regulations on it. With crypto, there's really nothing like that until we get the laws effective. So, you know, it's this thing of, like, we are in the Wild West right now. So it's difficult for me to, you know, sign on to anything like that, or to even promote anything like that. Like, the educational part, I will promote as much as possible. Like, I talked with Mike at XRP. Excellent. They have wonderful use case, you know, dealing with identities and things, which for me as a, you know, public person, like, I could use that. You know, we have a lot of imposters running around out there. So, you know, that's a big problem. So, yeah, getting stuff with like that on an identity or whatever it is, it's perfectly fine. But they start crossing that line of saying it's going to the moon, they're doing all this other stuff about it. I'm good.
No, I totally feel you, Vinny, and that is one of the things that we are really proud of here at the Dip and Toe Show with the people that we associate with. We, you know, not saying that we've never had somebody on that didn't turn out to be the best, but we try really hard to vet all the folks that come on and shine the spotlight on the people that are building real world utility type things, or trying to figure things out, how to use it. And so I love that you got to meet Will and Mike from XRP, because they're a great example. In fact, Will and his wife were with me this past week at XRPL Cancun. We had a group of builders there for a community event that we shared. And right now, when you say like it's the Wild West, we are the keepers of the community, that we're building the education piece of it and helping lift each other up and learn more about how the XRP Ledger works. And as you know, I mean, you can go onto Ripple's site and look at XRPL services and those types of things, where they really dive into the education pieces of what the XRP Ledger can do. And yeah, it's not all about people rug pulling. And I think we're doing a pretty good job now with calling out the folks that are shilling those, because there's nothing worse than having somebody rug pull you, you know.
Yeah, and
being able to recognize it is also very powerful.
And that's the thing. When I first started doing this, nobody was doing it. Nobody was calling them out. I had to be the one, like, unfortunately, like, because I was seeing it go on and I was like, this is totally wrong. What are these people doing? And, you know, it's like, all of a sudden I had to hate on me for doing it. It's like, well, sorry guys, you guys should have been policing this the whole time. Why do I got to say something, you know?
Yeah. Trippy Balls says, I'm literally reading an AI script. Thanks for coming, Trippy Balls. Appreciate you. So I do want to say thank you to the 350 people that came to the show tonight. Before we go, I kind of want to close things up with maybe some of the biggest lessons that you've learned in this journey. Maybe about the tech, the community, or yourself. What are some of the strongest things you've learned since you've been here?
Well, that there's a lot more of us out there than what I originally thought. You know, I just started just yelling out into the ether, and I've been just so grateful to be able to find people that are like-minded, that believe like I believe, and, you know, bringing this new world into existence where, you know, we cut out all the fraud, where we can use our own money, where we can actually rebuild our lives again. You know, it's about connecting with people of like values, not just like-minded. I like to have different voices, different minds, but like-valued people, and to be able to bring them together. That's the best thing I've learned, that we're not so alone. You know, nobody is out there. We all want this to be able to go forward. So that's been just the greatest eye-opening experience, you know, and being able to be, you know, so taken in with the community itself, whether it's the non-community with John Denver Parody, which I highly suggest everybody go and, you know, click the button for John himself. He's great. He, you know, helps with ivermectin, fenbendazole, his Right to Try program. It's helped, you know, cure people of cancer. So give him a look if you're on X. But, you know, it's just mostly just been about connecting with the people. You know, that's exactly what I wanted to do. And a lot of my content has been like, it's as if we're in the room together. You know, that's basically how I've always approached it. There's no scripts, there's no AI, there's no nothing. It's just like, okay, let's sit at the bar and let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad I can just be myself, you know, while doing that, and create, and, you know, meet as many friends as I have.
Yeah, and you definitely do like a great job with your frankness, and, you know, the way that you present things. I think you are doing a good job for somebody who's just dipping their toe into crypto or XRP and the XRP Ledger. What would you recommend they do first?
Learn what Ripple is as a company, then learn what the technology is. And then from there, make a decision. Okay, so just think about it like a business. Okay, if the business is not generating demand for the use of their tech, how good is the tech? Like, you need to have both at the same time, both the lock and the key for this. So, you know, do your research on the company first, and then look at the technology, and then learn a bit about how does this actually fit into the world, and what can then change after that. So every one of these things is like a domino effect. You learn about the company, then you learn about the tech, and then you learn about, okay, what's the problem it's solving? Well, then you got to talk about geopolitics and finance and all of these intricate things that affect it. So that would be the first place to start, is like, just look at it as if it's just another business and another technology.
I love it. What's one thing about the Ledger that still makes you smile, or you think that you think like, this is so cool?
Well, it's the gumball machine. Yeah, it's the gumball machine.
Yes. Talk about the gumball machine real quick.
Okay, so just think of everything that is on the XRP Ledger as just gumballs in the gumball machine. Okay, so you put a quarter in, you get something else out. You put fiat in, you can get out a stablecoin, a tokenized asset or security. The machine itself is XRP. And that's it. That's all you need to understand about it. And everything else that's inside of that machine, that's the stablecoins, foreign CBDCs, tokenized assets and securities. So that's a really easy way to understand it. And when you talk about, you know, liquidity pools in the future, when you can make this a yield generating asset, well, you're basically putting that gumball machine into a food court and then taking a yield off of every time it's being used. And that's how you can think about it. So whatever the liquidity pool is, that's the food court. And then whatever percentage of a yield that you're getting from just placing it in that food court, well, that's what you can take back as a passive income from there on. So that's a really easy way to conceptualize it.
I love it. I love it. I do want to invite you. I don't know if you're able to. Great. I know it's a long 2-hour show, but at 10:10 on X, I do have an after dark space where folks can come in and then we can chat. So you're more than welcome. I posted the link in the live chat there for anyone that's interested in stopping by. You have any final piece of advice or encouragement for even like the builders or everyday people that are watching the show this evening?
Well, it's basically just a call to action. You know, we need to have the Clarity Act done. So get your senators, call them, send letters, and then on this November, get out to vote. Because if we don't get these laws passed, we're going to be forever in this limbo, and it doesn't matter what work you've done. It doesn't matter how many that you bought. Like, we need these laws passed, and we need them effective. But, you know, we need the political willpower to get it done. That means everybody needs to get out there and start banging on doors, stumping for your local district race or whatever, so we can get the votes in Congress, Senate and House, to then pass these bills. So everybody needs to get political. You cannot, sit on your hind end and think things are going to happen. That's not how we won 2024. We had to make it too big to rig. So we're going to have to do the same for the midterms. So that's the call to action. Everybody get political, or be prepared to keep being broke.
Yeah, I feel you on that. If somebody were like you say, call your senators and that, is there a website? I thought I saw someone posting where it had a listing of like all of the senators in someone's area that made it like real easy. Are you keen on that one?
Yeah. You can just go to congress.gov, House of Representatives, the Senate, all their phone numbers are there. I have a template on my profile for the Clarity Act that you can send in as a message to them, and I'll make sure to post that again on my profile. So you can just go click that, take the template, fill in your name and information, send it to your senator. So and if you can't find that, you can always use AI.
Right? Use the tool that's there,
right,
if you can't do it yourself. But if anybody goes to Vincent's profile, and again, I'm going to show that Vincent Scott SEO 72192. You can follow him on X. And you also have don't you have a TikTok and a YouTube?
Yeah, the TikTok, I only have one, and it's posted on my X bio, so you just click that link. There's a lot of imposters out there. Only follow the verified accounts on X, but on TikTok, they don't let you get verified at all. So it's kind of ridiculous how TikTok does it. Yeah, so just only use the link in my X bio. And I just want to thank you so much for having me join here. I know we had some technical difficulties. I'm sorry about that. I'm not really sure what to do about it. I just blame the CIA, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens to the best of us. But I'm so glad that you were able to come on, and at least we got your audio. And we got to see your face a couple of times. I will tell you, I do want to say thank you so much again, because it's because of you. I know positively I am over 5,000 subscribers on my X account.
Right.
I've been growing since 2021. Pretty sure that your audience now is come over to the Dipito Show. We have 374 people watching. I know it's your people. Welcome
Excellent.
to Dipito Show. I love it.
Let's do this again sometime. Hopefully we can work out the technical difficulties, and I can remember it's Central Time, not. Where are you at? You on the West Coast?
I'm in Eastern.
You're in Eastern. That's why.
What are you in?
St. Louis, Missouri. So it's Central Time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so there that time zone thing really always gets me too.
Yeah.
I'm working it out though, but yeah, this has been a great conversation. I really encourage all of you, if you're not familiar with his account, yes, he does have the subscriber, so he has some private content on there. But guys, it's not about that. He has so much information that is on his X account. If you're not able to be a subscriber, there's still tons and
Yeah,
tons
there's
of content on
you can
there.
find everything I've ever done for free on my X account. So
Yep,
don't
yep.
worry about it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you one more question.
Sure.
I think I noticed that you have the X Money on your profile as well.
Yep.
Have you used the X Money yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. So, and they sent me the metal card for it, which is pretty cool. And
Yeah.
you get cash back every time you use it, so that helps. Every cent helps. To keep the whole account running. So it's all just financed, just like we said earlier, off the just either tips or subscriptions, and that's it.
Let me tell you this. So I went to Costa Rica, or no, Cancun, this past week, and I got my card before I left, which I didn't expect to, which was really awesome. I put a $200 on it. Okay, because I thought, well, this will be great. I'll be able to use my X card while I'm there. So then, if it gets stolen, it's just a couple $100 or whatever, right?
Right.
My other card, my bank shut me off while I was in Cancun.
Oh no.
But guess what? X card worked. X card worked, guys. It was
Great.
easy. And not only that, when I came back and looked at my account, I had made $1.36.
Yep, that cash back really helps.
So yeah. Vincent, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. If you could come to the After Dark space, I'd love to have you. For all of you guys that came to the Dip a Toe show, thank you. Do you have any final thoughts for the audience tonight, Vinny?
Just everybody, be safe when you do your research. Take everything with a grain of salt, and just keep digging and be politically active. That's the best thing you can do.
Let's go. All right, guys. Have a good rest of the day, and I will see you in the After Dark space.
All right. Thank you so much again.
Welcome and hello. Let's chat about the things that we'd like to know. With Simon and Melissa, you feel right at home. Talking crypto, maybe you should just dip your toes. You laugh and you love where the community grows. On the Dip a Toe Show.